After hours of a heated debate last evening, the 11th Parliament passed a contentious Protection of Sovereignty Bill 2026. A debate about the level of legislative integrity exhibited during the process is now on among several stakeholders. Unia Musazi is the executive director for the Uganda Water and Sanitation Network. Unlike other stakeholders, she welcomes most of the clauses in this bill.
The water and sanitation alone invests more than 100 billion every year on average. And that's only a fraction of around a third of the active NGOs that report. The Environment Civil Society Network invests an average of 10 billion a year. So what was the initial bill, impacting? Where it was calling for, first of all, categorizing, and 60% of this financing comes mainly from foreign aid. So the implications of the original bill were that that 60% of this investment, which is now 110 billion, would be capped. It would be de-risked by, the donors, the development partners who are supporting us to bridge the gap, to complement on government services regards water and sanitation and environmental conservation in Uganda. And also the generalization of the foreigner or the agent of a foreigner, and the restrictions that the previous bill was bring on board. But now with the amended bill, we are grateful to the President of Uganda for having stepped in and provided some clarity, and also for the committees to have listened to a certain extent.
She has, however, appealed to legislators to revise the clause that stops development partners from commenting about policies that directly affect the sectors they oversee.
What we are calling for is that to open up the space and recognize that we as NGOs, much of the work that we do, the service delivery, is supplemented by policy influencing. And this is based on the gaps that we identify, the evidence that we generate from the research that we do, and the work that we offer in the communities that informs our policy. So there is still need to protect any policy engagement or advocacy that is aimed at bridging the gap, identifying the gaps and addressing the gaps when it comes to humanitarian or development aid amongst the communities.
Job Kija, a civic activist and governance researcher, has strongly criticized the amended version of the bill as illegal and unnecessary.
It is a very unnecessary law, even when it has some changes. The changes are not even for better, because the changes still they take away your right as a citizen to political participation, which is enshrined or bestowed upon you by the Constitution. And let me give a simple example. Banks, which are foreign entities, the employees of those banks are now declared as agents of foreigners by this law. They must register, as agents of foreigners. If they don't, and they dare speak about politics or policy formulation, they will actually be held culpable.
As media in Uganda critically look into implications of Clause 13 of this bill that creates an offense of economic sabotage, criminalizing publication of information that damages the economic system, Kija has cautioned multinationals to watch out for implications of the bill he says his team will soon challenge in courts of law.
We have had a lot of donor and capital flights. Donors no longer find it viable to invest their money in Uganda. Why? Because of the legal and regulatory frameworks that we have that curtail freedoms. Because a number of these donors actually want to promote freedoms, Now, you might argue that, we are only curtailing political, civic, and human rights freedoms. But remember that these donors, they are an ecosystem. Even those that are intervening in terms of giving you support for climate change or education or healthcare, if they see that their counterparts are being curtailed in terms of investing in your country, they'll actually also do what? They'll go away and invest in countries where their money is better respected, where the observance of rights is okay.
Under Article 91 of the Constitution, the President now faces a constitutional choice to either assent to the bill, return it to Parliament for reconsideration, or decline to sign it into law. Juliet Naloga, NTV.